Good day and welcome to another episode of Real Estate Real Talk with me, your host, Jolson Torquato. Our guest today is Nkuli Bogopa, Managing Director of Investor Services at Broll Property Group. Ma'am, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. Thank you, Jolson. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I am doing very well, and it is a pleasure, the biggest pleasure, to have you on our show. A trend of the show, we usually like to start by asking the interviewee to talk a little bit about themselves, just to give us a little bit of a background about what they do and who they are. So, in
hmm
3, 2, 1, take it away.
Okay, so as you've rightfully mentioned, I'm the MD of Investor Services at Broll. I'm also the Vice President of the Black Business Council and look after the cohort of professionals across various sectors. And I am I'm South African, born in Soweto. I'm a Joburger through and through. I do wish I could relocate somewhere else by now, because people who get to be born here, live here, and marry here. I'm actually over it now. So but I love what I do. I'm passionate about real estate. I'm an activist in my field of work, and I am driven by ensuring that we see an inclusive economy in our country one day. And I get actively involved in various industry bodies that work towards the advocacy that will help us realize that. So, as you know, I was the past president of the South African Institute of Black Property Practitioners. So those are just the different structures that will help us equalize this playing field, hopefully. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I see that you are very involved, and that's very good because that creates a lot of content. So you'll have a lot to talk about during this interview. Um,
Thank
in
you.
doing some research about you, I realized that you actually started off as an architect. Tell me more about that experience and what made you start architecture.
Okay. Um, my mom is the one answer. She decided that she will register me to become an architect and into architectural school rather. And she decided that because she worked in the health services sector for the greatest part of her life, and she realized that the built environment and the environment in which people live has a huge impact on their health ultimately. And she decided that she would want me to be in a constructive sector that would ensure that we create conducive living environments for our people. And she's a social worker by profession. Never once did I think that I would find a social cause in this work that I do in the built environment in real estate, but I have. And my days in architecture were very short lived. I worked at Osman Leng Architects. And the last project I got involved with was phase one of Melrose Arch. So that was way back in the early 2000s. And since then, I decided to embark on real estate because of the vastness of opportunities that exist there, and I haven't really looked back.
That's very interesting, and it is very true. When people look at the real estate sector, they actually don't understand how complex and how many layers there are to it in terms of different
Mm.
professions and different services that are needed.
Yeah,
It's a very dense sector.
yeah.
I believe.
Lots of value, lots of opportunities in the value chain. So I found myself coming in from an architectural background, which I thought was very strong as a backing. And it's really helped me to navigate the real estate sector and find myself where I am today. So I'm really glad I work in a field that I'm truly, truly, really passionate about.
Yeah, I could imagine. I could imagine. I think anything real estate is very passionate, and you having that architectural background, you basically are the inception of any real estate project. You know, you have
Mm.
you have that knowledge, you have that understanding that brick and mortar understanding that many people that join the real estate profession or the real estate sector don't have. How do
Yeah.
you think that benefited your career when you moved into the property management sector?
I think architecture gives you a solid and a global background, and when I say global, it gives you the big picture background. When you approach real estate, you don't approach it from a small angle, but as you can imagine, if we take it back to the analogy of architecture, you have to think about the holistic picture. Then the M&E guys come in and they fit into that specific discipline. The QS comes into a specific discipline. Everybody else comes into a specific discipline. But as the architect, you have to think about the overall picture. And I think that's been very rich or enriching for my career, because it's always prompted me to think of the bigger picture and all the elements that need to come in to make it work. I think the best marriage I've found of my various career experiences was on the Rio Tinto portfolio, where I had to put the head office together and actually sit as a client representative and set up the professional team and direct the design and construction and then the operations of the facility. So that was really enriching, because that's where you could see the decision making across board happening, and one didn't have to be either or, so that was quite exciting for me.
Wow, you mentioned Rio Tinto and a lady leading in a mining company. How was that experience? Specifically, a black lady leading in a mining industry. How was that? How was that experience?
Very exciting. I think the industries that I've been able to get into are just an example of how diverse real estate is, having been in banking, having been in mining, and now straight in real estate directly, but having also been in government working on triple Ps. It just shows you how diverse the opportunities are in real estate. But working for a mining company, a multinational, which is actually always toe to toe, either number one or number two on the rankings of the best mining companies in the world, was an absolute honor. I absolutely relished that opportunity. It came with its own challenges. I think, my first 3 months, if not 6 months, spent on Rio Tinto, I had to justify to the team as a whole, professional team, my existence, essentially. Often when we had meetings, they would ask, where is my boss? And he was based in the UK. And thank God for the sponsorship that he gave me in terms of the support. And he was very clear to the locals, the professional team, and the client locally, that I am the ultimate decision maker who would also inform him on the way forward in terms of the project, So that helped, knowing that I had that support. But I've had to find myself being defended by other people in a boardroom where a man just got irate, with the fact that I made a final call. And that was the final call. And that's what they had to live with, Mm-hmm. It takes a bit of getting used to have to recognize that this is the ultimate decision maker. And it was a bit difficult for people, but I think my resilience and my grit is what helped me get through that process. But above all, it was someone that I knew that had my back, and at least I had a support system. And I think that counted for a lot.
Oh wow,
but still the most exciting project I've been involved with. Yeah.
That must be it must be so reassuring to have that type of support and that type of mentorship, especially when you're like starting up your career, and this is a call out to the senior people in the industry, just to see the value of your mentorship and your support and your trust that you have in the people that you're mentoring. It really
Definitely
comes a long way to form the future of the country. So
Definitely. It goes a long way. It goes a long way. I think without it, I may have gone through points in time where I would have doubted myself, because everyone else around me and in the room doubted my abilities, So having, even if it's just that one sponsor, makes all the difference. And it's what got me through, So I'm very proud of the end result that came out. And I think even everyone else who was in doubt was proven wrong at the end, and so they were able to relax.
I understand that it is. We still have a long way to come in terms of equality in the workspace, specifically when it comes to women in the workspace. And I'm very sensitive to that, to what the state of the market is at the moment. I do think that we need to do more to empower women in the workspace because they are just as capable as men of doing what men do when it comes to the work environment. And with that in mind, and being sensitive to that point, I'd just like to know what are the best things about working in real estate as a woman?
For me, I think because decision making has to happen on the spot and multitasking is the order of the day. So much happens in the space of real estate in a day, and it's such an emotive space that people find everything to complain about. So you must worry about maintenance, you must worry about rentals, you must worry about so many different dynamics and solving for so many different dynamics. And I think women as natural multitaskers, that lends itself as a great opportunity. But I think having mentioned how emotive real estate can be, the aspect of women that is empathy goes a very long way in making sure that you are able to take a client's complaint and turn it around in a very quick manner of time and make sure that you make them comfortable again counts for a lot, because that's all we do, especially as facilities managers. It's about finding solutions, turning them around very, very quickly, and making people feel comfortable as the end users of the facility. So that's all you do all day, And so I think it stands me in good stead being a woman, and also just being able to lead teams in a more calm manner and be able to bring the team dynamics together and understand the issues of diversity, and where I'm essentially as a Black woman, you will understand that in a male dominated industry like the one we have, where it's white male dominated, somewhere down there then comes the Black woman, So those dynamics have to shift, but I therefore am even more sensitive to ensure diversity within the team and making sure that I elevate everybody within my team to a level of respect that they all deserve, and give people a chance, because I know what it's like not to be given a chance.
That's awesome.